Hi, welcome to my next video. This time I wanted to show you a next part in the making of my Tokyo at Night book. But first I would like to show you what we'll be doing in this video. So here for example I'm just walking around on my location hunt, just taking photos of interesting things, and at this place I took this photo, which in the end became this spot illustration. A spot illustration is meant to be used in the book with the text, so if there is too much text in one page I can put a spot illustration to make it a bit more interesting. So differently to the main watercolor paintings that I did, I already painted all 30 of them, so yay, I finished the main part. A spot illustration is just a simple element taken out from a bigger scene that I thought would work on its own to make a page more interesting. So here for example in this one that I'm drawing right now, I thought that this group of vending machines with one drink vending machine and a machine to pay your parking fee under this small roof with the light, which makes the whole thing brightly lit, is a nice element to paint as a stand-alone illustration, as a spot illustration. So first, of course, I started with making a sketch. This time I'm not making a thumbnail sketch because this scene is kind of easy to understand and the perspective is easy, so I just started sketching directly on my watercolor paper with a light pencil. So I'm using again this weird plasticky BIC Evolution pencil that allows me to make really light and easy to erase lines. The next step of course was making the line work, and I'm using here my LAMY Safari pen as always with the waterproof Souboku blue-black ink. This is an ink made by Sailor and it's completely waterproof, so I can use watercolors on it later. And because this scene is complicated and has a lot of small details, I'm trying not to overdo the lines and not to draw too small details, so I'm leaving all the text, for example, on the signs and all these kind of elements inside of the vending machine, for example, to paint only with watercolors later. To decide what to draw and what not to draw with the pen, I usually use the three-dimensionality of a thing for the decision, so if something stands out or is really visible like a three-dimensional button or a lever or something like that, I would usually draw that in with the pen. But if something is just a flat surface or a texture or a detail on a sign, for example, I would use only watercolor to paint it if I can. And the same goes for stuff like the bottles in the vending machine, for example, which are really brightly lit, so we cannot really see the contours of them, just the bright colors of the labels. So this also was a part that I decided to reconstruct only with watercolors. This of course is difficult because painting without the contour already there for you is difficult, but I think that it gives this kind of depth and diversity to the scene that is necessary. Okay, so here I started painting with the watercolors. I'm using here the same Schmincke watercolor set that I used for the main watercolor illustrations of the book to keep the book consistent. And I'm starting from the light washes on the vending machines and then going darker and darker into the details. I'm also painting the watercolor only insides of the vending machine using bright saturated colors, but I try to keep the amount of colors as low as I can, so not to overcrowd this part and not to make it too detailed. Also to speed up the painting process. Okay, so while I'm painting, I'll give you a small update on the status of the book. I already finished all the main watercolor illustrations, all the spot illustrations, all the maps, all the necessary text. Also for all the big illustrations and for all the other elements of the book, I did a special interview for the book, which is still a bit of a secret, but I'll reveal it soon, I guess. So all the elements that I had to actively make are already done. So now I'm only waiting for the things to come from the designer of the book, from the editors, from the translator, because the book, as my previous one was, will be done in English and Japanese, so it will be a dual language book, which makes it kind of difficult to translate and fix the translation mistakes, and also someone has to fix my not so perfect English in this book. So I'm waiting for all these things, Also, we have to do test prints, we have to decide the design of the cover, we have to print the cover, test print the cover, so there is still a lot of work to be done, but the main part of the book that I had to create is done. If everything goes to plan, the book will be published on September 20th in Japan, so it will be available in Japanese stores and on Japanese Amazon. Of course, you can pre-order the book from outside of Japan using Japanese Amazon like with my previous book, but also when the book will be published, you'll be able to buy the book using other resellers like you can with my current Tokyo storefront. I'm also working on setting up a store where you'll be able to buy some goods and limited editions of the book, but this is also a future announcement because it's not ready yet. Okay, so I finished adding all the details here, and the last step was just to paint the background with my waterproof ink. I wanted to use the same ink to get this flat effect on the background to cut out the front elements and to make it into a spot illustration. Okay, so here is an URL that I set up so you can read more about the Tokyo at Night book and you can pre-order it on Japanese Amazon. There is a tutorial there also to help you do it. Okay, that's it for this video. Because I finished all the stuff that I had to do for the book, I think I'll be making YouTube videos again more frequently. Yay! So I hope you liked this one. As always, feel free to comment, share and subscribe, and you can also support me on Patreon. It's your support there that allows me to focus on my own projects and do stuff like this book. Okay, see you in the next one. Bye!